Hi everyone, I wanted to talk a little bit today about a different kind of topic that I haven't really ever talked about on my channel before, but it's something that I definitely have thought about and thought it might be useful, helpful to others. Would love feedback and to start a discussion if possible because I think this happens. I see other YouTubers talk about this, and I decided to upload a little alcohol marker practice that I've been doing. I saw this really pretty image of the Beauty and the Beast, the newer movie that's going to be coming out, or it might be out already. And so I decided to have that in the background so that you'd have something to look at during the talk. And I just want to start out by saying I don't want to be a downer by talking about this. I really would hope that it would be something uplifting, especially towards talking about getting through it and past it. So, just to give a little bit of backstory, I started art journaling, I think it's going on 4 years now, and then I started a YouTube channel at the end of 2013. Yeah, that's right. And I've been on and off of YouTube. I haven't been totally consistent with it, because life happens. There's things that have happened, health things and family things have happened that caused me to kind of not be on YouTube as much, but lately I've had this resurgence of being able to be really excited about art again, and I wanted to talk about that, and I'm just very grateful that I've been able to feel this way again about it. So basically, through kind of the ups and downs of life, I still have managed to make creativity a daily thing as much as possible, and sometimes not force it, but definitely, even if I'm not liking my art, I will sketch. I keep a couple of sketchbooks now, and I've taken a lot of other YouTubers' advice. I watch a lot of the videos that talk about 7 tips for beginning artists and things like that. And a lot of the artists say very similar things, and so once you hear tips over and over, you know that it's working for a variety of people, and you start doing those things. So basically, this past summer, I took an art class, and it was an online art class. It was one that had been talked about quite a bit, and this particular artist had been in the planning stages of it for, I think, well over a year, and I had been following this artist for quite a while and really liked what this person was doing and felt very inspired by their work. And the art class itself, I wanted to take. It just financially was not, the class was $300, and I couldn't really justify it to myself to spend that much on the art class, even though I really wanted to. Well, what ended up happening was, after the art class had been going for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, this person offered a payment plan so that you could spread out payments. And I finally, on my birthday, which was in July, got an email that was talking about the payment plan and thought, oh, it's an omen. I came on my birthday and I should go for it, especially now that the payments are spread out. So I ended up enrolling in the course, and at the beginning was very excited and was almost, overexcited, and, jumped in with both feet, started getting cracking on the lessons, and there were quite a bit of lesson plans. And I genuinely believe that the artist felt that they planned it thoroughly, and that, it would come across as a very complete course. And I think it very well could have been. I was a special ed teacher for several years, and I know what goes into lesson planning. I know that you learn an awful lot when you're a teacher, and this was sort of this person's first foray into instruction. Although they have done instruction in a way on their channel, on their YouTube channel, for quite a while, this was more of a formal teaching environment. And I'm really trying to look at it with some detachment at this point, because I am trying to look at the situation a little differently now that it's been several months. But the experience had a big impact on me, and in the end, I look at it as one to grow on. What ended up happening was, one of the things that really drew me to the class was that there were going to be a lot of critiques, and not only from the instructor, but from fellow students. And so I've taken a lot of classes, in real life classes in my life, and was an English major before I became a teacher, and was very accustomed to that environment of being in a critique setting. And it's not always pleasant, it's not like sunshine and roses all the time. Like, sometimes people can tear your work apart, and it can definitely hurt. And I think with writing, I had a stronger backbone about it, because I've been writing ever since I can remember, been a big reader and a writer. And so I think as far as art, I'm more insecure. And so that right there will tell you that in a critique environment, I would not be as thick-skinned as I would be in a writing class. So basically what had ended up happening was there was a real lack of feedback to begin with. At the time that I enrolled in the course, the instructor had a lot of things going on in her personal life that was keeping her from being involved in her part of the feedback. And I'm trying to say this without still feeling some sting about it, because again, it definitely was a huge learning experience, and it was a painful one. So one of the first assignments was to submit a current piece of art that you felt happy with, and I went ahead and did that. And it took well over a month before I received any feedback on it, which I thought was a long time. It didn't really say, time-wise when to expect the initial feedback, but after several weeks I did email the instructor and ask, and I thought, well, maybe the email got lost. I just continued with the self-guided courses, after submitting that work, but I still, kind of in the back of my mind was thinking, well, I still do want to hear about that one piece. And, as soon as I wrote to this person, I did hear back, and I did get the feedback, and I, to this day, look at that piece differently than I did when I first created it. It was one that I was super excited about when I did it. It felt like a turning point in a way. I found this image on Pinterest, and I've always been a big Alice in Wonderland fan, and it was a picture of a woman dressed up as the Queen of Hearts, and something happened that night where I was able to just sort of off the cuff create this piece that I was really happy with, and it felt like something was happening, and especially as far as faces, because I had been practicing and still am practicing faces for a while, and it felt like, wow, this is one that I really feel like I like, and I'm not still feeling that feeling like, oh, this just doesn't look like how I want it to look, which it felt that way with faces for quite a while, and it still can, for sure. So, that in itself, again, it's a critique class, and I was schooled, so to speak, before I even took the class, actually. In the comments section in YouTube, there were quite a few people that were talking about going to art school, and I didn't go to art school, but apparently it can be very demanding, and the instructors are quite rigorous, and they can be pretty tough on the students. And I don't know if that's true of all art schools, but this group of commenters, at least, their experiences had been that it's not an easy road to take, and so I respect that. I can't speak to it as far, I have no experience in art school, so I didn't know that, and I was kind of sorry to hear it, quite honestly, that it would be that negative of an experience for so many people, although I don't know that everyone considers it a negative experience. They just said it was very, very hard. And if it made them be a better artists, then I think that's wonderful. I think depending on the person, depending on the student, it might steer someone away from becoming an artist. I would think, if they go into an environment that is not supportive at all, because I just really believe in constructive criticism, not just flat out criticism where the whole point is to kind of tear the person down so that you can build them back up. I really don't believe in that philosophy. And what ended up happening as this course went on was eventually there was so little feedback, and that was, like I said, part of the draw for me was I had no idea how to look at my art and look at it objectively and know if it was good or not, and know if it was, composition and things like that are taught in art school. were not something that I had any experience with. And so the lack of feedback, the lack of instructor participation was a big bummer. And eventually I did email the instructor one more time, asking if we could have more feedback, basically. I said, because I still don't have a sense of really how I'm doing or what the heck I'm doing. And I got a couple of critiques. There was a forum within the class where you submit your work and, people can comment on it. The instructor comments on it. And right after I sent that email, I got a couple of very nasty, short critiques from the instructor that I felt were unnecessarily harsh. Even with my inexperience with art classes, I still felt like, well, that was not, I just felt like it was a direct response to me emailing her and saying I need more feedback. So I did email her again and explained to her that, I've been in these writing classes and I understand what it's like to be in a critique environment, and and this is when I really did become assertive, because up to that point, I sort of looked to this person as a mentor. I had watched her videos for probably 2 years, really, really enjoyed her art and thought she was very talented. So I definitely looked up to her, and so that gave me a lot of pause in confronting the issues that I was having in the class. But finally, when I got the two comments, I did go ahead and email her, and I just said, I don't know if you're aware, if you're coming across this way, but when a teacher uses this type of criticism, depending on the student, I mean, I guess it depends on the person. I said, for me personally, when I had these types of interactions with teachers in the past, it really just lets me know this is not a teacher that I'm going to go to for further advice. I'm just going to kind of, in college at least, this is how I was, just, get through the class, get my work done, get through the class. And I did have some experiences like that. The teachers who were more constructively criticizing, and who were more approachable, were the ones that, of course, you can learn more from, because you can go to them, you can talk to them, and you feel like there's a rapport there, and you just can get a lot more out of that experience, I personally feel. So I wrote her that, and I let her know my feelings on that, and her response was apologetic, and at the same time, she immediately uploaded a video, announcing to the class that it kind of was their fault, our fault, so to speak, the students, for not participating in the feedback part of it more, and that she was going to make that sort of our homework. And that further convinced me that this is not the class for me. And please God, I hope that there is a way that I can get a refund, because $300 is not a small amount of money to me. And I also, money aside, felt that I wasn't going to continue in the class, period. This was not a class that I was getting a grade for. It's not going towards any type of formal education, and I just thought I'm kind of done with this, because I felt that her personal response to me in the email was that, you know, she was definitely going to try to be more involved, but then immediately, you know, there's this kind of wagging finger at the students, like it's really up to the students to be doing more critiquing. And so what ended up happening, you know, she did issue the refund, and I am glad that that happened. And I guess I still have some negative feelings about it, because it is something that crosses my mind, and I do see her still on social media somewhat. I don't really follow her anymore, but she's around enough in the social media that I follow that I still will see her sometimes. And unfortunately, it did create a period of time when I just felt a lot of confusion and a lot of insecurity about doing art, and I kind of got away from doing it for a while, and that's okay. I think there can be a lot of reasons for not being creative. Like I said, there can be life stuff happening, and it's like I said, I'm turning it into a growth experience with time, especially now that I am feeling a sense of renewal. But I did just want to talk about this a little bit and see what you guys' experiences have been, as far as, have you received negative criticism? How does it affect you? How do you handle it? And to also say that if you have received it and have felt really put down by it, and then it's affected your creativity, and I say this as I'm still, you know, it's still a journey for me. I'm not saying this from a place of being so secure in my creativity that, you know, I can, you know, sort of be giving advice. But if I were to give advice, I would say to definitely keep going and don't let someone you know, affect something that really gives you a lot of joy, something that you're passionate about. And yeah, I feel a lot of gratitude for some of the groups, you know, there are a lot of them around, especially I found on Facebook. There are a lot of art groups. And no, maybe you're not getting the type of critiques that you might get in a formal art class, that you will definitely get some helpful tips from fellow creators, and it's in a supportive way. And I'll say, even in the online course that I took myself out of, that those other students who were participating, we did have some good exchanges as far as critiquing each other. It just was few and far between, as you know, as far as there just wasn't a lot of participation. But I felt and feel that it's helpful to get the encouragement, I think, as a bottom line, especially for newer artists like myself, who are, maybe you've always had a creative streak, but you don't consider yourself like a lifelong artist. That's my personal experience. I didn't find art, so to speak, until my 30s, well into my 30s. It just wasn't anywhere near a daily part of my life. It was something that was fun to participate in here and there, but yeah, I think starting out and even throughout, people can still get down on themselves. And I even see YouTubers who I think of as, you know, being, if not masters at what they're doing, they're spectacular and they're making a living at what they do. They still talk about the self-doubt that happens. So yeah, I guess this is just kind of an open-ended art chat that I wanted to try out and talk about, and hopefully help someone else who might be experiencing something similar, and to be encouraging. And like I said at the beginning, I would love to hear your feedback, and yeah, just, you know, and if you have had that feeling, or you feel like you're having some art block, or you're in like kind of a slump art-wise, to get anything off your chest that you feel, because I feel like once it's kind of up and out of you as far as talking about it or writing about it in a forum or in YouTube comments, it really helps you let go of it and can be very cathartic, as art can be. So I'm gonna go ahead and close here. I think I've talked long enough. This is saying 26 minutes at this point, so I don't know if I'm gonna edit this down or just let her go, but yeah, would love to hear from you, and thanks so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.